One of the things I did in the draft, though, is I always drafted a running back in later rounds.
As you should.
And the reason for that is because we see players that get drafted high, like Christian McCaffrey, get paid big-time money and then get hurt. And that's what happened. CMC is injured. He's out for the season with an ankle injury. Before that, he missed a couple games. He played 3 games last season. He missed 13. He's played 7 this year. He will miss 10 games ultimately. That means CMC will have missed 23 games in the last 2 seasons. At this point, did the Panthers regret paying him this much money? And what do you just feel about the running back position as a whole in paying them a boatload of money?
Well, I'm sure they do regret giving him that money, especially when they were in talks for Deshaun Watson and they were saying, we're willing to give you Christian McCaffrey. Because they obviously realized they can't have both these contracts on their payroll. Excuse me. And expect to have a complete roster. But I understand you're getting Deshaun Watson, but the whole point would have been to have Deshaun Watson paired up with CMC. But me personally, I don't hate the running back early. I understand that history shows you shouldn't do it. You can get great value in the 2nd, 3rd rounds, 4th rounds. Kareem Hunt was a 6th-round pick. I get it.
Elijah Mitchell.
There's been great players spread out through NFL history that have gone in later rounds. I just look at Ezekiel Elliott, and he's the one that really started this wave of taking a running back early among the new school, and him getting a 2nd contract and still being a beast. Leonard Fournette, another guy who obviously was pretty solid on the Jaguars, had a rough last season with them, got cut, but then went to the Buccaneers and was integral, one of the more essential parts of that team, especially that offense. So there's clearly talent that goes there. CMC had probably the greatest running back season we'll ever see on both sides of the football. I understand taking them because they're amazing, but what are teams supposed to do? Just let them fall? Because then a team at pick 29 is getting unbelievable value for just sitting there and waiting. I just think that some players are too good to pass up on. Like a Melvin Gordon. I can understand that one being one of those that you shouldn't have taken him that early. But then you look at Todd Gurley, but it's one of the more unfortunate things. What he did for the Rams was amazing. He was fantastic. He's our generation's Bo Jackson. Bo Jackson obviously has the different avenues of being the most complete athlete, played baseball, and then football was his side gig. But Todd Gurley was all world. Like, at the minimum, he was the number 2 running back in the league when he was at his best. I just think that some of these guys are too good to pass up on. And you just cannot slap them in the face when it comes to giving them a contract come contract time, especially if they're giving you the production that you need. You look at guys who have a 2nd contract now in the NFL. Derrick Henry. I'm sure that, we're going to say that he has a foot injury, but it's a broken bone in his pinky.
I actually have the list of all the guys.
Dalvin Cook, another one. I'm fine with that contract. Ezekiel, I said, I'm fine with that contract. But Aaron Jones, he's been solid. I'm okay with that contract.
You're fine with it, but as of now, these are contracts from running backs that these running backs are getting paid $12+ million per year. These are the guys. CMC done for the year. Derrick Henry out indefinitely. Dalvin Cook out indefinitely. Alvin Kamara, he's injured right now. Ezekiel Elliott, he's playing through injury. Zeke, but Cowboys have said, hey, look, you can rest up. You can be out for a couple of weeks. Aaron Jones, just back from an injury. Nick Chubb, missed 2 games with an injury. He's still playing well, though.
He had COVID, actually. I said that earlier. He had COVID. That's why he missed.
And Joe Mixon.
Chubb.
And Joe Mixon, he's actually been very good. He got a 2nd contract. But you look at just finding value in running backs. A.J. Dillon, 5.2 yards per touch. He's been better than Aaron Jones this season. In my opinion, he has. Elijah Mitchell, 6th-round rookie, 4th in rushing yards per game. You're finding these running backs that are producing at a very high level that aren't these top guys that don't need a 2nd contract. And we'll get into the Pollard and Zeke thing next segment. Even Pollard. Like, come on. Yeah. Come on. It's Pollard.
You look at that 2020 class, that's what stands out to me. JT, Swift, J.K. Dobbins. You have all these guys going in the 2nd round, and the first running back that year was Clyde at pick 32, and the Chiefs completely whiffed. There was 3 running backs at minimum I'm blanking. There might have been a couple
See,
more
but
that I'm not thinking of, but they're
at
all
least-
better than Clyde.
You and I, we weren't talking back in the day, but we thought that JT was a first-round talent.
Yeah,
It's
I
that
thought
simple.
JT was
He was
the best running back in the draft.
Them taking Clyde was a complete, utter shock.
That was just us.
Scheme fit.
I was going to say, that was just people putting too much faith into
Dude,
Mahomes and
Jonathan
Andy
Taylor
Reid.
would have fit perfectly in there.
Yeah, Jonathan Taylor fits with any offense. He's the best running back in football right now.
Yeah.
But to go on the question, the CMC question, we talked last episode, is Saquon a what-if player? If Saquon's a what-if player, Christian McCaffrey's turned into a what-if player as well. We saw the historical 2019 season where he had 1,400 rushing yards, over 1,000 receiving on 116 catches and 19 total touchdowns. It's going to go down as one of the best running back seasons in NFL history. But since then, he hasn't been able to stay healthy.
Since then, he hasn't had a 100-yard game since getting that 4-year, $64 million contract.
Yeah, so the Panthers are stuck with him till at least 2023. If they want to, they could cut him in 2023 and eat $13 million in dead cap. It's not ideal, but I guess it's manageable at that point, especially if that's 3 years in a row, if McCaffrey can't stay healthy again next year. There's also a report a couple days ago that said the Panthers are not interested in trading McCaffrey. That's because they can't trade McCaffrey. If they trade him before June 1st, he'd be a $20 million cap hit, so they're not doing that. And I also think even if they are in the Deshaun sweepstakes, there's no way the Texans could be interested in McCaffrey. They're a complete rebuild. They'd be paying the highest salary to a running back who can't stay healthy, who he's about to turn 26 or 25, which, obviously still young, but you might as well take a rookie in the third round and hope he pops rather than paying a running back all of this money. But in the same breath, we saw a few years ago, the Houston Texans, different management, different ownership, not ownership, but different head coach and management, trade DeAndre Hopkins for David Johnson, which is going to go down as one of the worst trades ever. So nothing's out of the realm possibility, but I can't imagine any team looking at McCaffrey, his contract, his injury history, and thinking, yeah, let me go trade a premium draft pick to go and get him.